the Second Amendment says we could form a militia. So let's form a militia and let's take the Speaker of the House hostage and make him watch the video hallway footage of the shooting and the morgue shots of our children until he agrees to bring safer gun legislation to the floor of the House. And that's the crux of the story. And it allows the reader to see this whole from many different perspectives because there's about 5 or 6 parents who are the main characters and they're all different.
Yeah, wow, it's so heartbreaking when that happens and you get so angry that it happens and you know that everybody is in for profit for the gun lobbies and things like that. It's ridiculous. But I also wonder about if we could help with mental illness. That is, the people that do this, there seems to be a demographic of that. I wonder if we can also address that as well. I mean, definitely we need to do things with gun laws, especially the fact that they just recently made it possible for mental ill patients to get a gun. That's just ridiculous.
So it
Yeah,
doesn't make
it's
sense.
it,
But the young man who does the shooting, his name is Austin McGurk. He had been bullied unmercifully
mhm,
by some of the jocks in the school. And look at what he did was wrong, 100% wrong.
mhm.
But you gotta sort of say the bullies had something to do with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what I mean. The whole the whole problem is the whole circle of that. The bullies, malnutrition. It's also what they
Sure.
eat, you know,
Yep.
and there's a biochemical imbalance in people when they have that kind of thing go off
Yep.
in their heads. But there's so many factors that we could address, and it's hard when you have parents or family members and you have someone that is mentally ill, that you're not sure if they're going to do something to harm somebody or not. It's really hard for them as well. Even if they've done posts on social media, you wonder, I'm sure that they try to get help for these people. I mean, I've seen it. Some people don't, but some people do. It's a hard, hard thing. But the least that we could do is change the gun laws and have stricter gun laws so that the fringe can't get them. I mean, responsible gun ownership is fine, but it's
Yep.
the other thing. So I don't, nobody wants to take away responsible gun owners things, but if they have to go through more background checks and get permits for certain things, I think that's maybe the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, nothing is going to be perfect, and there's way too many guns in this country than there need to be. I mean, I think it's the average gun owner owns between 4 and 5 guns,
Mm.
and there's more guns in the United States than people, believe it or
Mhm.
not.
Yeah.
And if you look at homicide rates, us versus like Western Europe, it's 5 times higher. And their number of guns per capita in those countries are a lot lower, like a third of
Mhm.
the US. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a complex problem. And this kid, he was bullied unmercifully. And the last bullying incident, there's no way he would want to go to school the next day. In the state of Ohio and many states, an 18-year-old can buy a rifle. And in the state of Ohio, they also have what we call the private seller loophole. So you could just go to any private seller, show that you're 18, and you get the gun. No background checks,
Right.
no required training.
Roger Chiocchi is the author of Brushy Ridge. Roger, why don't you tell me about your book?
Well, the Brushy Ridge militia is about something that's way too frequent today, a school shooting in a high school where 11 students and one teacher are fatally shot.
Oh.
But it's not really just about that. It's about what the parents do afterwards.
Hmm.
Obviously, they are devastated when they get that phone call. Think about it. We see it on TV, when news coverage. And yeah, it hurts us, but the next day the news cycle continues and it's all thoughts and prayers. But these parents, they suffer. It's devastating. It's life-changing.
Yeah.
So they go through all the stages of grief and they decide they're going to do something like many other parents groups do. They decide to lobby Washington for safer gun laws.
Mhm.
And they go there, and the Speaker of the House, who really controls what bills can go to the floor, his name is Fred Grantham, he refuses to meet with them because he's very much owned by the gun lobby.
Mhm.
And they get very upset. They stand outside his office. They hold up pictures of their loved ones, deceased loved ones, and he walks right by. And they heckle him, and he turns around and he repeats the words of the Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Okay, so they get back to Brushy Ridge, Ohio, a fictional town. And what happens is one of the parents, Hank Patrick, his name is, he's sort of one of the two or three main characters in the book. He's an attorney. He worked in DC early in his career. And he gets the parents together and he says, you know, those 27 words are ambiguous. What do they really mean to you? Why is a militia in here? And the parents, obviously overwhelmed by grief, are thinking differently. And he says, well, you know what? The Second Amendment says we could form a militia. So let's form a militia and let's take the Speaker of the House hostage and make him watch um, the video hallway footage of the shooting and the morgue shots of our children until he agrees to bring, safer gun legislation to the floor of the House.
Mhm.
And that's the crux of the story. And it allows the reader to see this whole this whole story arc from many different perspectives because there's about five or six parents who are the main characters, and they're all different.
Yeah, wow, it's so heartbreaking when that happens, and you get so angry that it happens. And you know that everybody is in for profit for the gun lobbies and
Yep.
things like that. It's ridiculous. But I also wonder about if we could help with mental illness. That is, the people that do this, there seems to be a group, a demographic of that. I wonder if we can also address that as well. I mean, definitely we need to do things with gun laws, especially the fact that they just recently made it possible for mental ill patients to get a gun. That's just
So
ridiculous.
it
Yeah,
doesn't make
it's
sense.
it, yeah.
Now, interestingly, the young man, excuse me, I have to sneeze. The young, you can cut it out,
Okay, yeah.
but not. The young man who does the shooting, his name is Austin McGurk. He had been bullied unmercifully
Hmm.
by some of the jocks in the school. And look at what he did was wrong, 100% wrong.
Hmm.
But you gotta sort of say the bullies had something to do with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what I mean. The whole the whole problem is the whole circle of that. The bullies, malnutrition. It's also what they
Sure.
eat, you know,
Yep.
and there's a biochemical imbalance in people when they have that kind of thing go off
Yep.
in their heads. But there's so many factors that we could address, and it's hard when you have parents or family members and you have someone that is mentally ill, that you're not sure if they're going to do something to harm somebody or not.
Mm.
It's really hard for them as well. Even if they've done posts on social media, you you wonder, I'm sure that they try to get help for these people. I mean, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Some people don't, but some people do. It's a hard thing. But the least that we could do is change the gun laws and have stricter gun laws so that the fringe can't get them. I mean, responsible gun ownership is fine, but
Yep.
it's the other. things. So nobody wants to take away responsible gun owners' things, but if they have to go through more background checks and get permits for certain things, I think that's maybe the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, nothing is going to be perfect.
Mm.
And there's way too many guns in this country than there need to be. I mean, I think it's the average gun owner owns between 4 and 5 guns,
Mm.
and there's more guns in the United States than people, believe it or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
And if you look at homicide rates, us versus like Western Europe,
Hmm.
it's 5 times higher. And their number of guns per capita um in those countries are a lot lower, like a third of
Hmm.
the US. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a complex problem, and this kid, he was bullied unmercifully, and the last bullying incident, there's no way he would want to go to school the next day.
Yeah.
But in the state of Ohio and many states, an 18-year-old can buy a rifle. And in the state of Ohio, they also have what we call the private seller loophole. So you could just go to any private seller, show that you're 18, and you get the gun. No background checks,
Right.
no required training.
Hmm.
Um, and so this kid, I mean, one of the things that the reviewers say is, there's moral ambiguity there because what does this, an 18-year-old kid is, you know, who knows what thoughts go through their heads. Even like a quote unquote normal 18-year-old kid.
Hmm.
And to feel so ostracized that he doesn't want to show up in school again and being scared to tell his parents, he doesn't want to tell the administration because there's a code of silence in high schools like that, and the bullies will just bully him more.
Yeah.
So that's a moral ambiguity, and the same thing with the parents. They never wanted to be vigilantes, and it's really not. The why they do what they do is not about vigilantism. It's about exposing a flaw in the Second Amendment. Why is the word militia in it? But no one pays attention to that. But they believe in the second half, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So they're trying to turn the Second Amendment on its side and sort of reveal a little hypocrisy in the whole.
Yeah, and get the speaker to actually listen to them. The
Yeah,
thing is that these politicians, they really don't care. They don't want to listen because they're already bought, so they can't change their mind. We hopefully they will one day change their mind, but obviously we know why there's a militia in the Second Amendment because of the time.
yeah,
But we don't have that now, and hopefully we won't need that soon.
yeah. Well, I mean, the whole thing should be rewritten. I don't
Yeah.
know how practical that is, but the reason it was put there in the beginning when the Bill of Rights was written was that there were the anti-federalists who wanted strong state governments, weak federal, and then the federalists who wanted the exact opposite, strong federal. And they had just rebelled against the king, who would do things arbitrarily. So they didn't want this new federal government to become a monarchy.
Right.
Sounds what goes around comes around, I guess.
Yeah. I know.
So one of the reasons that people could form militias was in the event that the federal government became tyrannical, they
Hmm.
could revolt. And to your point, what was happening is so this Speaker of the House, Fred Grantham, was owned by the gun lobby. And if the gun lobby came in to his office, he would surely meet with them.
Hmm.
But these people, these parents, had made the ultimate sacrifice, their children, their progeny, and he wouldn't meet with them. So Hank Patrick convinces the other people that that's tyrannical, and we have the right to take action.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool premise actually.
Well, thank
Very
you.
interesting. Yeah, and
Um,
I'm sure that the dialogue in it, I haven't read that part of the book yet, but I'm sure you have some thrilling dialogue because I've seen your other books too, and the reviews that you have, they're very good.
Why, thank you. Thank you. I try. I try.
What I noticed in your books is you're very thoughtful about the choices that you make and what you write about. You expose things that are happening in our world,
Yep.
and you write about it very thoughtfully. It's very interesting.
No, well, thank you. And yeah, I mean, my first book, Mean Spirits, was a ghost story because I always wanted to write a ghost story because I was scared of them as a kid, and I kept on reading these real ghost story books. And but it's about generational wealth. It's about this family that came over on the Mayflower, and the family patriarch, Charles Penfield, I think his name was. Um, he An untoward situation happens between he and a young servant girl, which causes the servant girl to jump off the stern of the Mayflower and commit suicide, obviously. And she comes back every second generation to haunt the family. Even though they're this big American family that's prominent, she comes back and she embarrasses the contemporary patriarch of the family at the time.
Mhm.
And so that's a I think that's an issue, generational wealth, which we talk about a lot today.
Yeah.
And then Time Framed, my next book, is sort of a continuation of Mean Spirits. It's more sci-fi than paranormal, but it's about the present battling with the future to change the period in between.
Hmm.
And the future is very dystopian. And the new world order is not, the countries are not, governments are not based on geography. They're based on wealth and IQ. And you have to take a test. And the very top one, there's only 40,000 members, and they have a much looser set of laws than the other 14 layers of government. And they can get away with murder,
Wow.
basically.
Wow.
And so one of the reasons that the people in the present want to change the future is because they don't want that dystopian government to survive or
Mhm.
thrive. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of issues in there, things that I think about all the time, and I've thought about, going back to Columbine in 1992 or whatever it was. These used to really upset me. What makes someone want to do this? Some of these people, like if they didn't have that bad week or bad month, some of these kids, and just got through it with some help, which they need, you know, it might not have happened, and they might be fine today.
Yeah.
I mean, teenage years and puberty years are stressful.
Yeah.
And if they had gotten through it, they'd be fine. Maybe. At very least, they'd have a shot to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But then I live about a half hour from Sandy Hook. And I was home from work that day and I watched the whole thing unfold. All the helicopters going over the school and the broadcast units. And I watched Obama go on TV that day. And then that was like mid-December in 2012. And I was so touched by it. And so was my daughter, who was in her teens at the time, that on Christmas Day, we drove over there. And there was a makeshift memorial. You couldn't get near the school, it was blocked off. But in the middle of town, they had a memorial. We left some flowers there. Um, and and then, fast forward to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas in I think it was the mid 2010s. And after the devastation of the shooting, about 4 days later, there was a big town hall. I think it was live on CNN. I watched it. And everyone was there, the senators, the congress people, the students, the parents, um, and Rubio was there because he was a Florida senator at the time. And after they all did their, and even the NRA was there. Even after everyone did their spiel, the AP history high school teacher got up and she asked the panel a question. What militia was that young man a member of? How
Well,
was he well regulated? And
uh,
that's what sort of planted the seed in my mind for the book.
hmm
There's a certain, I don't know if you call it ambiguity, hypocrisy, but something doesn't make sense.
right.
And and I go, well, I mean, if they say if militia is still a word in the Second Amendment, that like that set of 27 words, that really is the umbrella that over gun regulation in the United States, why why not have this set of parents use it to their advantage?
hmm Yeah, that's such an interesting premise that you have. Um, that it unfolds. Hopefully, everything works out well. I don't know how your book ends. I don't want to give that away.
Well, well, I'll give you. I'm not going to go to the spoiler alert
Yeah.
territory, but they do get they take them hostage, and they do get apprehended,
Mm.
and some of them go to jail, but it ends up in the Supreme Court, and I won't tell you what happens.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm hopeful
And,
that our gun laws will get better. I'm really hopeful that we'll get I think that most responsible gun owners don't mind having permits and extra things, layers that they have to go through.
yeah,
I don't know why it's such a hard thing for people to pass laws for to get why do they have to have guns go to mentally ill patients and
yeah.
teenagers and people without it can't be that they want money that bad. I mean, I don't know what the actual amount is that people spend on guns in that section. Would you?
Um, well, no, I don't know by age group, but it's never going to be perfect. And one of the reasons the opposition gives for not doing anything is it's an unenforceable. Well, murder's unenforceable. I mean, stealing is unenforceable because people do it, but less people do it because you have those laws in place.
Hmm
And no, so I do think though that what goes on is between the gun lobby and the people who want safer gun laws. I think what goes on is a game of chicken. The gun lobby thinks if they give up an inch, we're going to come back for a mile. And so they don't want to give, and that might happen to tell you the truth, but they don't want to give, they don't want to budge. And there are some things that are, I mean, like one of the arguments I hear, I think they should move the age for any guns to 21. But they say, but they can go to war. They can serve in the military.
That's
But the
true.
military is so supervised. It's not
True.
like some kid with a gun walking into a public place. You're supervised there, and if you're out of line, you're gonna know about it. So yeah, if someone wants to hunt, that's not me, but let them hunt. And I know some of my friends have, particularly single females who live alone, they have a gun in their bedside drawer.
Hmm
Okay. I could see why you'd feel good about, better about that or safer over that. But even despite, and they should have it, but even despite that, the statistics say if you have a gun in your house, you're more likely to use it on yourself or a friend or family member than a burglar or an intruder. So, I mean, but this is one of those issues where the facts don't get you any traction, really.
No.
Um,
No. I
um,
mean, I learned how to shoot when I was 8, We had
Okay.
my grandparents had a ranch, and so they taught us how to shoot rifles, 21,
Yeah.
16, and 14 gauge, and not pistols so much, but anyway, I didn't. We shot skeet and targets, nothing live.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but still, it's more like the thing that the gun lobbies, we need to figure out a way to make them safer. I mean, at one point we wanted to regulate the ammunition, but they didn't want to do that
Mm.
either. So that's kind of it's a hard thing to get through. But I also want to address the bullying and the poor kids, the mental illness, the why does all that happen? I mean, I write my books, my sci-fi and fantasy books for that
Okay.
purpose,
There
to
you
teach,
go.
kind of like to raise the mindset a little bit, to show people that there's a different way to solve problems than with violence.
Mhm.
So that's what I have, because it's a whole picture thing. It's not just that. It's not just
Mhm.
guns, although guns is a big part of it. We need to reach out to the people that are suffering as well.
Well, I mean, there's many chains, there's many links in the chains that cause a gun shooting, like particularly a school shooting. It's
Mm.
like the butterfly effect. I mean, somebody gets bullied. The bully thinks usually he, is impenetrable, invulnerable, and
Yeah,
so nothing's ever going to happen because of that. But guess what? You were so bad, the kid comes in with a gun, and now now you're not as dominant in this situation as you were before, and um,
yeah, and the bullies, everybody knows who the bullies are. Everybody
yeah,
sees what's happening. Why don't they stop that? I mean, bullying is not good. It's not cool to be a bully. Bullies are insecure people that have to reach out, they have to punch somebody else because they're insecure and they don't feel good about themselves.
yep, I agree. And maybe too much testosterone and
Yeah,
and puberty. But the bullies are usually the biggest, strongest kids, so they can get away with a lot unless someone like in the book Austin McGurk has a gun. And they don't realize that if you push a button too hard, it's going to come back and haunt you.
hmm. This is why I like martial arts, because
Okay.
you teach
Yeah,
you
yeah,
teach in martial arts, you teach that, yeah, it's physical. You're teaching defense, self-defense, but also respect and discipline. And people that are in martial arts have less need to shoot people.
yeah. And it gives smaller people a little bit of an advantage if they know
Yeah,
martial arts and the person that's bullying them doesn't.
yeah,
So that's a good thing. But, I mean, high schools are a microcosm of society. You
yeah.
have the people who are in, the people who are out, the nerds, the jocks, the cheerleaders, the artsy folks. And in many ways, that's a good thing because it teaches you about different types of people. But on the other hand, it might cause schisms. And, people want to defend their turf, and that's how bullying can possibly happen, I would guess. And, but it's an interesting dynamic. I remember thinking that back when I was in high school.
Really.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it's a microcosm. It really is.
Mhm.
Uh, and
I was fortunate enough to be able to volunteer at my son's school when he was in elementary school.
oh,
So
that's
I got
great.
to see through kindergarten all the way through. I got to see all the kids, and there's a lot in the autism spectrum. So you have all these
Yep.
different personalities, different level. There's all sorts of. There's a couple of kids that were problems. You could see
Mm,
it, and there were two girls that were bullying other people, and the teachers pulled them aside and really talked to them and worked with
yeah.
them and trained them. And so it was nice to see that the teachers and the administrators worked together to help shape these kids, and they got
Mm.
better, which was nice. I
No,
think
and that's great, but you can't prevent 100% of it
no, no,
because
you
a
can't.
lot of it goes on um, behind their backs, and there is a code of silence.
Right.
If you're scared of a bully and a bully bullies you, you don't want to tell on him or her because it's only going to happen again, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's when the people around all the kids, and like, and because I guess I wasn't a teacher, I would see it too.
yeah,
But there are people that see it, and you can say something, even say something to the kid themselves, to the bully. There was
yeah,
two people actually that had a hot trigger. One of them, I think, had domestic problems at home.
yeah.
But I worked with them and talked to them a while and got them to run more on the PE field, you know, because
Okay.
all this stuff, if you do physical exercise, you get rid of that
Yeah,
stuff.
you're right. You're right. There's nothing better. I mean, just in my work life, I worked on Madison Avenue for many years. Um, I would be really ticked off about something, a lot of politics in an ad agency and with your clients. I'd go to the gym,
Hmm.
I'd walk into the gym really PO'd, and I'd walk out. The world was a much better place.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Feel better.
Those
Exactly.
endorphins do something, I guess, right?
Yeah, it
And,
does.
and no, so yeah, we have, in my own little way, I like to write about issues. I mean, I like to write fiction,
Mhm.
but I like to have a theme to it, and I like to try to find paradoxes and hypocrisies in life, and God knows there's a lot of them
Yeah, there are.
in the United States today. So, yeah, so I'm always looking for an idea and probably start another book soon. Um, but I don't have the idea yet. But when I do have the idea, I'll be happily at my keyboard.
Yeah, you will. That would be great. I know that you have something about the crash in 2008 that affected everybody.
Well,
That was
that was a nonfiction book,
mm,
and so I guess I am a graduate, an MBA graduate of the Wharton School. So I guess I thought that made me an expert. Not that. Well, there was another person there that went to the Wharton School, but we won't mention him. But I had higher grades. Um, and yeah, that was I had my own little ad agency, and sometimes you write a book to promote your business.
Mhm.
Um, and I was really concerned because that crash destroyed a lot of people's 401ks.
Mhm.
Uh, I remember I interviewed a guy who worked at Citibank. He was ready to retire, and all of his stock was in Citibank, and it went from like 60 to 2 or something
Mhm.
like that. And he
Yeah.
couldn't afford to retire anymore. So, yeah, so I wrote about that. I learned as much as I could about it and tried to explain how it happened. But the heart of the book was I interviewed 8 baby boomers across the economic spectrum, sort of like a Studs Terkel thing working. And and I just wanted to illustrate how it affected their lives, if at all. It affected most of them, but yeah. So yeah, but I generally love fiction. Let me
That's
put it
it.
that way.
Yeah. That 2008 affected me.
Okay, well, there
Yeah,
you
my
go.
house, everything, the house turned upside down, the businesses crashed, my business,
Yeah,
people went bankrupt. I had a film slate set up with a studio with 4 of my films, and I had
yeah.
like 100 and it was 130 million in funding for movies.
Oh
And
God,
yeah,
God
and the
bless you.
investor had his money with AIG, so he
Mm,
wanted to go out of the contract, so I let him out of the contract. But
yeah.
yeah, it turned everything upside down, and I had to my businesses had to fail. I had an ad agency too.
Oh
And
really?
businesses, I dealt with all the major studios at the time, but I also had other companies that went bankrupt that put me in a lot of debt. And so I had to close the business and work to pay off the vendors. And then
Mm.
I sent out 300 resumes
Oh
to
my God.
get a job. But because I was, I guess, too experienced, I didn't get any, which maybe the universe was guiding me into something else. And I actually started my own business again, and now I'm really good. So,
Well,
things happen.
the AIG office that brought the whole thing down. It was like in I think it was in Wilton, Connecticut, which
Hmm.
is about 2 towns away from where I lived.
Oh, wow.
And one of my friends was a big bike rider. And and remember, those guys still got their $1 million bonuses,
Mhm.
right?
They do.
That's a hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And they organized a bike tour of all the houses of all the people who brought down the economy but still got their seven-figure bonuses. So I
Yeah.
thought that was sort of
Well, it's
cool.
all a strategy for them to make some money, which is what's happening now. There's a
Mm.
strategy that the people in power right now have a strategy of what they're doing to our economy, and it's to make
Yeah.
money. So,
Well, I think that um, you're getting me a little bit off topic here,
mhm,
but I'll say it anyway. The inequality of wealth in the United States and income is a big, big problem.
mhm,
And Citizens United made it worse
absolutely.
because now the very wealthy people, with everything stacked in their favor, can buy congressmen and senators, and
Mhm.
they can make the rules that they want.
Right,
So,
right.
um,
That's what happened.
and
We need to change that. I don't know if it will change, but
well,
yeah,
it's just like the gun lobby. A certain political party doesn't like raising taxes on very wealthy people, even though, if you took $3 billion away from Elon Musk, it wouldn't affect his life.
no, it
But
wouldn't.
that $3 billion could put a lot of you're on the West Coast, correct?
Yeah,
So some of those people on the Santa Monica boardwalk who you see, the homeless people, it could
yeah.
put them in shelter.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I mean it's a big problem, but it's sort of like the gun problem.
Yeah.
And in this case they have even more clout because they can change the rules. So,
Right. Well, it's all allocation of the funding too. I mean, if we had the same amount of money, but we allocated it differently, then we
mm,
would have enough to get everything done that we need to have done. But they
sure.
allocate it in a way that's not conducive to the lower class, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate and I did
Yeah.
have a thought, but I lost it, which happens frequently. Um,
I know, me too. Well, that's why I
um,
did this podcast, because I'm an author, and I thought there's so many authors out there, and artists, and creators, and entrepreneurs that have great ideas that people don't know about. And
yeah.
so I know that what's happening in the world and the government, we're not going to be able to change that right now. What we can control is within ourselves and communicating with each other. And so, on an individual basis, I wanted to reach out and kind of promote people, let them promote themselves so that together we can unite and, help each other.
Well, I'm obviously, thanks so much. I appreciate the platform.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just hope that in our own way, we can spread news about interesting books like both of
Yeah.
ours, and maybe make people think. I mean, a lot of people want to write for the wrong reasons. They think they're going to write Harry Potter and make millions and millions of dollars. And if that's what you think, I tell people you shouldn't write.
Yeah.
Uh, um, but writing, I think, has to be its own reward. And if you really love sitting behind that keyboard and fixing paragraphs, and you have ideas when you're on the treadmill or running around town or driving your car on the highway, that's that's like a nice zone to be in?
Hmm.
So that's why I write. And hopefully someday I'll make, well, I have made money from it because I write ad copy,
Hmm.
but make money from, writing stories. And
Yeah, but
let's
there's
hope
so
that,
much wealth in the knowledge, of these books. The characters, oh, sorry, um, there, sorry. Um, the there sorry, there's so much wealth in what you write and what people write. I'm
yeah.
finding that people write for the reasons because they're trying to give examples of how to do things differently so that people can have their minds open a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I've always felt my whole life, if I want to learn about the mid 18th century, let's say UK,
Mhm.
I don't want to read a history book. I'll read Dickens.
Mhm.
You know, I think that's the right year, but about the right time. But no, you can tell a lot about um, a period of time in a certain country by reading their best fiction.
Yeah.
You know, Dostoevsky, I mean, his novels about, I
Mhm.
think that was the end of the last century, but don't quote me.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't know about
and
time.
end of the 1800s, I think. No, not the 2000s. So I do think that literature or just even commercial fiction, I wouldn't call what I do literature, but commercial fiction can really teach some good lessons. Um, and that's what I try to do to make people think. And, you know, what jazzes me about writing is when somebody, particularly someone I don't know, when they maybe email me or whatever, and they tell me they really liked it.
Hmm.
That's pretty good reward.
Hmm.
And I'm
Yeah.
sure you feel the same way.
Yeah, I love it when somebody actually reads the book. You know?
And you can tell the ones who are BSing you.
Yeah.
They're, yeah, I'm polite, but I know they didn't read the book. But you can tell when someone read it because they start quoting things, you know, or
Yeah.
asking about things. So that's good.
So, do you use AI in any of your research?
Research, yes. I am I I don't let it write for me because
Right,
I'm a writer.
right.
Okay. But yes, I mean I'm working on a screenplay now and I have to do a lot of research and I've used it and it's pretty good.
Hmm.
And you know, you have to double check because sometimes it's wrong.
Yeah.
But generally, you know, if I want to learn about the Revolutionary War and why the Bill of Rights was written the way it was, I could ask ChatGPT and I'll get a good answer, and that saves me about 3 hours
Hmm.
of going. But I like to do my own research too. But sometimes you just need a fact or two, you
Hmm.
know, and I don't want to spend 3 hours finding the fact.
No.
Um, if it
Remember,
particularly if it's an arcane fact, you know, so
yeah, remember we used to have to read books to do our research. I mean, when I was writing, because I write a comic book series, it's sci-fi,
okay.
and when I was writing this one story arc, and I remember being at a Starbucks with 5 books on quantum physics and things like that on the desk, reading all of them at the same time, comparing and whatnot. Um, and actually, I really enjoyed that. But it's fun to have AI and be able to ask the different platforms what it is. But lately, I did this podcast. I'm on this thing where I use Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok,
Okay.
and we're doing a podcast together. And I interview each one. Oh, and Meta. I interview each one and give them all the same questions and see the responses. And so I'm doing a
You
comparison.
interview the AI platforms.
Yeah, I did.
So like they're people, okay.
Yeah, like they're people kind of. But it's interesting to see the differences in their personalities, you know?
Okay. No,
But
that sounds interesting.
it is interesting. But what I've found is that um, they're not smarter than us. They're like search engines right now. Maybe eventually they will be smarter, but some things are wrong. But even so, I mean, they're very thoughtful, very
Yeah.
meticulous. But I don't know. What do you
Well,
think about all that?
I watched I teach a marketing course at a local college and I was teaching now I'm teaching social media marketing. And I showed them a video of Steve Wozniak, who you know, was the co-founder of Apple.
Right.
And I think it was about 5 years old. It was an interview at some tech exhibition. And they said, "What do you think about artificial intelligence?" And he says, "You got to take the word intelligence off it because it's really just hyper algorithms, you know, on steroids, maybe.
Mhm.
You know, I don't think, you know, people talk about the singularity that someday AI is going to surpass humans. I don't buy it.
I don't either.
I think it would be impossible because first of all, you can't define what, and I'm sure you've read about it if you studied quantum physics. Ask any physicist or any major scientist, what is human consciousness?
Hmm.
They don't know what it is. They don't know where it is. Is it neurons? Is it some magical wave out there that we all partake of? Um, so if you don't know what human consciousness is, it's going to be hard to replicate it in an algorithm.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I don't think that's ever going to happen, but that's
Yeah.
just me. But
Well,
no,
just
I love quantum physics too, although I can't do the math.
I don't like the math either. Forget the math. Just do the
But
theory.
no, my book Time Framed was a lot about uh, parallel universes and waves collapsing, and
Yeah.
so no,
Yeah,
so
it's
that
so
was fun.
interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm a perpetual student, and the nice thing about writing is if you're a perpetual student, you could learn and you can do something with it, as opposed just to learn for learning's sake, which is fine as well, you know?
Yeah. Well, they say that there are multiple timelines and parallel universes for each of us now,
Yeah.
and that we're in a simulation, and that we're beings in these bodies because we're
Mm.
in a simulation like in a video game. What do you think of all that?
I don't buy it, but I mean, I buy parallel universes. I buy. Um, there's the old grandfather paradox. If you have anybody ever went back in time and they killed their grandfather, they wouldn't exist unless there was a parallel universe. Not that we know if anyone can go back in time, but
Mhm.
um, no, I mean, real science in many ways is magic. I mean, people think, well, Einstein, that stuff is boring. But okay, do you know that time goes slower when you travel faster? And if you travel at the speed of light, there's no time at all. So that's sort of interesting to me.
I do. I think so too. I was,
And
I was thinking about space travel and how it would be to travel in space, but the spaceships don't go fast enough for me yet. So I won't go. I won't go until
no,
I want to
no,
go on an
well,
alien spaceship, not ours.
no, if I'm gonna go to Mars, I want to be able to get back quickly. I
Me
don't
too.
want to
Yeah.
wait 9 months.
Yeah.
Uh, um, yeah, so no, I like all that stuff, and I do. I watch a lot of. Matter of fact, I have my TV on mute, and I usually watch YouTube more than regular TV.
Me
And
too.
there's a Richard Feynman video on.
Oh, wow.
So
Me,
yeah, I like all that stuff.
me too.
Yeah.
Well,
So
you've been an absolute joy to talk to. Really
well,
appreciate you
you
coming on.
you as well. I probably got off the main topics, but sorry about that. But it was interesting to me
Yeah,
at
no
least.
worries. So what I'll do is I'll run your trailer in post and
Yeah.
in between to show the trailer for your book, probably
Okay.
at the beginning of this.
Okay.
Is there
And
anything else you want to add to about your book or anything else you want to promote?
why don't we just say it's available on Amazon and the website address.
Okay, I'll
Okay.
put that in the post anyway, but and also
Okay.
on the clip on the video.
Okay.
Okay.
So what was I gonna, do you know when this will run?
Probably in a couple weeks.
Okay, well,
I'll email you.
you have my email now, so there you go.
Yeah.
And sorry about that mix up, but I guess sometimes technology doesn't work.
Yeah, no worries. That's fine. What I do is I do a full video of the whole podcast, which I'll edit
Okay,
a little bit. And
sure.
then I'll do shorts and I'll post the shorts also so that and I'll give you a playlist of all of your shorts so that you can use it however you want to.
Okay, good. I will do that. And are you gonna put you post them to YouTube usually?
Yeah, YouTube,
Uh,
Instagram, I
okay,
post it
great.
everywhere. But
Okay, well,
you
okay,
can
go
do it
ahead.
too.
Well, thank you so much for your time and your pleasant hostessness,
Thank you.
which is not a word, but okay. Um, and I will look forward to it.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank
Um,
you.
so let's say thank you, Philip, and uh,
Roger, I'm
I'm
Roger.
sorry. Thank you. Got that. So thank you, Roger, and thank you for joining us.
It was my pleasure, Debbie, and hope to do it again someday.
Yes, definitely. All right.
You
Thank
take
you.
care.
Bye-bye.